and welcome to the Woodshed Podcast. I'm Aaron Tornberg, and this is the Woodshed Podcast live from the hearing room. I'm here today with John Ferullo. I'm very excited to talk to him. How are you doing today, John?
I'm good, Aaron. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, and we'll talk more about how well we're doing in a moment.
Okay.
Before that, I'm going to talk about the hearing room, and I'm going to say that we have lots of cool stuff going on here you should check out. One of the things going on here is this podcast. That's every Monday night we have this. And we also have it on Thursday nights if you want to tune in. And that's at the Hearing Room website, hearingroom.net. You can find out more about that, as well as all our other events. Once a month, we have a blues jam on Monday night, and we record the podcast instead. And the blues jam is the second Monday of the month, so 7 to 10 p.m., and we have a band in the background. They do a couple songs at the beginning, and then you play with them, unless you don't want to, but a lot of people choose to because they're awesome. There's Tim Feeler and Roland Oxenbein and also Woody Carpinella, and they make up the Hearing Room Blues House Band. So they're really awesome, and you should want to play with them. So please come to the Blues Jam, second Mondays of the month. The rest of the week, we have Tuesday open mic, 7 to 10. We have Wednesday Let's Have Words. It's a spoken word evening, and that's 7 to 10 as well. It's a very good group, and if you like reading your poetry, reading your prose, that's the place to do it. Thursday night, we have the Singin' Jam. The Singin' Jam is a lot of fun. It's a group of people getting together and jamming with the same stuff in front of them. We put the words and chords on the screen so nobody's lost. Everybody can follow along. And then you also can get solos if you're so inclined, so you should check that out as well. Friday nights vary, and we have Fridays for a jam usually. Twice a month we do a jam for sure, and often we do other stuff that is jam-like. So the first one is the Acoustic Jam, first Friday of the month. The second Friday, it varies, but actually this month we have the Pink Floyd Jam. It's actually an open mic, so but you have to play Pink Floyd. So you come, you play your Pink Floyd song, and you got to find the really obscure ones from the early Pink Floyd if you want. Or you can play the recent stuff, recent being 1982. But, I guess they had stuff after that, too. But then we have the Bluegrass Jam, the third Friday of the month. The Bluegrass Jam is lots of fun. Everybody seems to know the songs at that one, so you don't need the words and the chords up on the screen. So all you got to do is show up. And you got the Bluegrass Jam going, and you can play banjo, mandolin, guitar, whatever suits your fancy. But it is a Bluegrass Jam, so expect bluegrass. Then the fourth Friday, it's going to vary as well. But we also have Saturday night events, and often there are live performances, Sunday nights as well. We have Guy Davis coming up this coming Sunday. And he will be here. He's fantastic, and the tickets are just about sold out. So if you want them and you're hearing this, you should be getting online right now to get them because there's a few left, but not many. And he is a fantastic blues musician. And then April 5th, we have the Kennedys coming, and that's going to be a Sunday. So they're going to do a workshop, guitar work, something with guitar that Pete Kennedy is going to do. And that'll be a lot of fun. So check that out, and then they're going to perform in the evening. So all that's going on at the Hearing Room. And finally, Sunday, we have the drum circle, 12:30 to 1:30, and the open mic that I run, 2 to 5. And that rounds out the week. We also want to thank the Greenville Junction Shoppy. The Greenville Junction, I say it that way because that's how it's spelled. Greenville, Junktion, Junction, Shoppy, Shoppe. They are an upcycling shop. They have lots of cool stuff for sale, and it is often stuff that's been upcycled completely from the ground up. and they get them from garage sales, estate sales, all that stuff. And also, they're going to have a new showroom opening up in Greenville, New Hampshire, which is where they're located. So the new showroom is going to be right in downtown Greenville. It's very exciting. And they also can be found online at Facebook at greenvillejunctionshoppy.com. I'm sorry, that's not .com. It's just .facebook or whatever it is. It's Greenville Junction Shop on Facebook, but it's with a K and an SHOPPE. They have their stuff on Facebook Marketplace, and their website is actually greenvillejunction.com, JUNKTION.com, and Greenville is GREENVILLE. Check it all out online. And they also do estate and garage cleanouts, so take advantage of that as well. Get in contact with them. So, John, now it's your turn.
So you're going to have the Kennedys here and Guy Davis?
Yeah, in a very short amount of time. We are a great place to play, and people should realize that.
This is a great place to see people, right?
Right. It's intimate. I think at maximum we can do about 60, and that's including the staff. Yeah. So really, we can only sell about 50-something tickets. And so, when you see somebody here, you're really seeing them in an intimate setting. Oh, yeah. So it's great.
Pete Kennedy is one of the best guitar players that you'll ever be in the same room as. And he's unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, you could take the workshop.
He just put out a book about his history of all the different people he's played with and the different things he's done. It's fascinating.
Oh, that's cool.
It's wonderful.
I didn't know he had the book. I'll have to check it out.
Something Twang, and I forget what it's called now. He'll have it here. I hope he has it here when he comes.
I'm sure it'll be on the merch table.
Oh, yeah.
So, John, where do you come from?
Well, excuse me. Right now I live in Westford, Mass. But I grew up not far from here in Woburn, Massachusetts. And actually went to college in Lowell back in the 70s.
UMass Lowell?
Yeah.
Or what
when
was
I started there, it was called Lowell Tech.
Lowell Tech. Okay.
And by the time I graduated, it was the University of Lowell. And then it turned to UMass Lowell a little bit later.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
How was it back then?
It was good, we were complaining about the parking. I went there, I visited there a year or two ago with my brother, and there's a parking lot now. When I went there was a big dirt lot that everybody parked in. And if you weren't lucky, you would get out to go to your car and you wouldn't be able to get it out. You'd just have to hang out until everybody else left because cars would be all wedged in around you.
I don't think that would fly today.
No.
Considering the cost of parking.
Now they have a real parking space. But It was good. I enjoyed it. I could afford it, too. Those were the days when you could work enough in the summertime, save up enough money. I was a commuter, so I didn't have to save up enough money to live there. Right. But you could save up enough money to pay tuition, which was cool.
Yeah, I got lucky with that later because I went to school in Canada for undergrad. So I was able to live at home and do that. That was actually normal. You don't go live on campus in Canada in a lot of cases. Yeah. So you grew up in Woburn though. What were your parents doing?
Oh, my mother was she was a war bride. She was from England originally. And my dad worked in the leather business. So he worked for a little company in Wakefield that made finishes for the leather industry, which is all long gone now in this part of the world. But that's what he did his whole life. He was a lawyer by training, but World War II got in the middle, and he didn't end up being able to pass the bar when he got out of the army, I guess. But he ended up being a sales guy instead.
Oh, sales?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So he did everything at that company. It was only small, so he did the sales, he did the management, he did the mixing of stuff and the formulating things. And
so he made leather?
He made finishes, and he sold it to the guys.
That's cool.
So he'd spend a lot of time on the road. I used to go up to Dover, Foxcroft, Maine with him in the summertime for he went up there all the time, but I'd go up there with him, and he had friends that lived out by the lake, so I'd stay with them. It was great being a little kid out there by the lake.
I can imagine.
Oh, yeah.
And you go to the what's that, the trading post up there with the bears?
Oh yeah, the KTP.
Yeah. Yeah. So your mom didn't work much?
No, she didn't work here. She just took care of us little brats. She had the hands full anyway.
Yeah. So how was it growing up in Woburn back then?
It wasn't bad. It was more of a small town, and it's bigger now.
Right.
I go back there now and then, but most of the people I know have moved out of there. But I was actually back there a few months ago because there's a baseball field in North Woburn that's named after my Uncle John, who died in World War II. And they built these flagpoles they got one for every branch of the service and one for POWs and then one for the American flag. And they had a big dedication ceremony, so I went up for that. That was fun.
Yeah.
They really made it look nice over there.
That's nice when you can go back and stuff is still there.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, I can't go back to my house that I grew up in. It's gone.
Oh.
So.
My house is still there, but my sister lived there up until, I think, 4 years ago. And she sold it and moved up to Laconia, up to New Hampshire.
That's a nice area, too.
Yeah.
So when you went to college, what were you doing there?
I majored in engineering.
Okay. Like software or...
No, mechanical.
Oh. What kinds of things?
I'm like a dinosaur.
Yeah, what did you like building?
Oh, man. I used to like building... I used to take everything apart, but nowadays I like to build guitars. I built a few... what I call parts casters, just out of pieces. And 15 or 20 years ago, I built acoustic guitar out of a Martin kit. I feel so bad for the wood, man. I just did a terrible job. So, but I still have that.
Well, did it play at all?
It did. Oh yeah, it played just looked like heck.
Well, that's half the battle. As long as it sounds good.
I didn't build the right fixturing and stuff like that. I didn't have the right tools for that at the time.
Yeah.
But
so is that what you did for work? Was engineering?
Yeah. In fact, I'm still doing it. I was retired for a couple of years, and then I took a contract job that's gone for the last 2.5 years.
Yeah.
And when it goes away, I'll probably retire again.
Yeah. What kind of things do you build? Like.
I work in the electronics world, so I build.
Okay.
Chassis and things like that, and the kind of the stuff you see when you look at an electronic piece of equipment.
Oh, okay, cool. So, so you had to learn machining and all that kind of stuff too, or no?
Yeah, I know a fair amount about machining. I don't do it very well. I know how to tell other people how to do it,
which you have to do, I guess.
Yeah, machining and sheet metal and molding and all different processes and things. I get to visit a lot, shops like that a lot, so it's kind of fun.
Oh, yeah.
I like seeing that kind of equipment.
Right. I used to take apart tape recorders and stuff like that. Yeah. I can see the appeal.
I made an amplifier out of a tape recorder when I was a kid. It was an old... I probably ruined it. It was a reel-to-reel, and I figured out that if I plug my guitar into it and I put in a record and I have a speaker plugged in, it'll be an amplifier. So I kind of gutted the thing and built a cabinet around it.
Did it work?
It worked. It wasn't great, but it worked.
Well, I think that's really cool. I used to record on a reel-to-reel Dr. Demento because it was on like at 12 to 3.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
12 midnight. And so, the only thing I could record for 3 hours and go to sleep was a reel-to-reel because you could do 3 hours of tape if you put it on slow speed. So, yeah. Those are cool equipment. I wish I still had one.
Yeah, I wish I like those old the old Tascam 4-track reel-to-reels and stuff. The first experience I had recording in a regular studio was they just had an 8-track Tascam reel-to-reel. Mm-hmm. We recorded on that. And I actually took a class at that same studio to learn how some of the stuff works. This was back in the late 70s, I guess. Mm-hmm. It was quite a ways ago, but But that was kind of fun.
So, how did you get into music?
Oh, let's see. I think I got my first guitar when I was maybe 14. A bunch of kids in my neighborhood played guitars and stuff, but everybody wanted to play, rock and roll music.
Right.
You know,
Like that.
yeah. Like, one kid in our neighborhood was big on like Black Sabbath and things like that.
Yeah.
I played with those guys, and I really wasn't into that kind of thing.
You were always into more acoustic.
Even then I liked to listen to Steve Goodman and John Prine and that type of thing. But I didn't know anybody that played that kind of music back then. Then college came along, and then working for a living and being an adult came along, and I kind of didn't do anything for a number of years.
When did you start performing again?
I started performing again, let's see, the first time was in like 93. I went to Ellen Schmidt's open mic at the Colonial Inn.
Mm-hmm.
And I was terrible. But she set such an atmosphere there that you could be terrible for a long time and nobody's going to say anything to you.
Right.
And, I don't know. Like, the first time you do anything, you're never any good at it. It takes a long time to really get good at it, even if you practice at home. It's like, practicing at home is really good, but yeah, you have to get out there and do it in front of people and screw up and that kind of thing. So that was the first time I did that, and I played at her open mic sporadically for a few years, and then I think in like 96 or 97 or something like that, she gave me my first feature, which really was really encouraging.
Yeah.
Then I started my open mic in 2001, and I've been playing a lot more since then.
So when you started playing the open mic at Ellen Schmidt's, were you writing your own songs or just performing covers?
No, I was writing my own songs. I had, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 that I had written and kept by then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have no idea how many songs I've ever written, because I keep some, and a lot of them, the majority of them end up just staying in the notebook, and I might revisit that later and try that, try them out again.
Right.
I can play you the first song I played at Ellen's open mic.
All right, let's hear it.
She fills the stove with oil and blushes all the while. He can't remember when he's seen a lovelier woman smile. He sits and tries to think, how'd life get this way? It didn't start for here on a cold December day. Twists and turns and forks in the road. You never know what might shift your life's load. Twists and turns, detour signs. When you turned, what did you leave behind? He wanted to play ball, but he never made the show. Then with mouths to feed, it was time for him to go. Now he plays softball in the company league. They let him play first base if he promises not to drink. Twists and turns, forks in the road. You never know what might shift your life's load. Twists and turns and detour signs. When you turned, what did you leave behind? Pours himself a beer, then sits down by the stove. asked himself, well, how'd I earn this woman's love? She sits across the room and their eyes collide. He knew no secret from her he'd ever hide. Twists and turns, forks in the road. You never know what might shift your life's load. Twists and turns, detour signs. When you turned, what did you leave behind? So in those days, Steve Friedman used to come there, and he'd bring his ADAT machine, and he would record every performer at the open mic, and for $12 he would send you a cassette of your set, and it was like the best $12 I ever spent, because you get the cassette and you listen to it and you say, oh well, that didn't sound good, I should do this, and then it's great feedback. It's the hardest thing in the world to listen to yourself, and it's the best feedback to do it.
Yeah, I remember doing that a lot at the beginning. I still listen to myself because now if I record, you have to listen to yourself. You know?
Yeah.
And that actually is nerve-wracking, because when you record, it's like it's not live. Even a live recording is easier to deal with than the sort of microscope on everything you're doing.
No, because every little thing shows up, every little buzz, every little off note.
Right, if your guitar squeaks while you're sliding up, it's things like that. But that's nice. So that's the first one you did live?
Yeah.
Well, since you still remember it, I guess it was.
I've had other songs that I wrote in that era that I don't remember anymore, because I haven't done them, but that one I keep doing.
Right. So you mentioned your open mic, but I think you should give a little more detail so people know what it is.
Oh, okay, yeah. On the second and fourth Sunday, most months except for July and August, we do open mic from 6:30 till 10ish at the Parish Center for Arts in Westford Center. It's right on the Common. Mm-hmm. It's a great old building. Half of it was, I think the newest part was built in the 1890s. And now we've got a great sound system. Most Sundays, Dan Tappan comes in and helps out with the sound for us. And I've been doing that there for, it was 18 years last November when we started. So
right.
So we're in our 19th year.
And you had the coolest setup for the sound system.
Oh yeah,
that was the first time I saw somebody using the wireless sound system from an iPad.
Yeah,
awesome.
we started using that a year or two ago.
Yeah,
and it makes it so much easier because Dan and I can both do sound at the same time. So if one guy's busy, the other guy can fill in, and you can walk over to the back of the room and you can check how it sounds in the back of the room or in the back corner of the room, and you're not stuck in one spot at the soundboard. It's really, really convenient.
Right.
And setup's easier.
Well, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that unit you showed me. The device is just like a regular
it looks
PA
like,
head.
Looks like a little stage box, and
right.
Yeah, I've got it in a rack box with a power switch, and I use a external router for it, Wi-Fi router, because the Wi-Fi that's built in is a little bit iffy.
Yeah.
So it's just easy to, for $25 you can put an external router on there.
Yeah, well, that's cool. And I've been to your open mic, and it's a lot of fun. I can attest to that. So the open mic is at PCA, is what they call it, in
right? Yeah,
Westford.
Westford. Second and fourth Sunday. We'll be there actually this coming Sunday, the 8th. That's why I'm going to miss Guy Davis here.
Yeah,
which is a bummer.
Well, the nice thing is you can come to my open mic 2 to 5, and then head over to yours for 6:30. You know, and
like Snake.
Right, it's 15 minutes from here to there, so it's easy. So yeah, Snake does that a lot.
Yeah, had a few people come.
Yeah,
but it's a fun open mic because anybody can come and play, and we really encourage people who are maybe new to performing and just kind of learning their craft to come and kind of cut their teeth there, because it's a really friendly crowd. You know, nobody's gonna boo anybody, and everybody's gonna help everybody out.
Right.
So that's what we want.
Yeah, it's a very warm audience. I mean, the audience is like, first of all, very generous with the feature.
Yeah.
And very friendly and easy to talk to, and there's little cakes and cookies and coffee and stuff. So that's nice.
If the right people show up, we have snacks.
But so you started that in 2001.
2001, November 11th, 2001.
Has it grown considerably, or was it always pretty big?
No, it's ebbed and flowed, man. Like we, for the first few months, we maybe get 5 or 6 people coming. And when people knew about it, then we get more people coming. And then there was a period of time where it kind of ebbed a little bit. We get maybe 5 or 6 people. Mm-hmm. And now for the last 2 or 3 years, we've been getting consistently 15, 16, 18 performers.
Right.
Which is a nice number because everybody can get 2 songs.
Right.
If we get more than 18, then usually we cut back to 1 song, because my goal is always to get everybody who shows up and wants to play.
Right.
And I think 3 times since we've been doing it, we weren't able to do that. But that's because we had like some special tribute kind of nights, where we, like Ellen Schmidt's 70th birthday party, we had like 30 people.
Yeah, that would be tough.
And then, we had a memorial night for our friend Bill Keogh. Mm-hmm. And we had another about 30 people that night, all playing Bill's kind of songs.
Yeah.
But generally, anybody shows up, we get them on.
Have you always been kind of just playing locally in the area, or did you try touring at one point?
Nah, I've been mostly in New England. Mm-hmm. Like the farthest afield I got was upstate New York, but usually within a 3-hour drive.
Yeah, so what's the biggest one you ever played?
Probably Passim. My friend Don White let me open for him at one of his Passim shows a couple of years ago.
Oh, cool.
And it was like a thrill. Mm-hmm. I went out and begged everybody I know to come.
Right.
So we could fill the room. That was good. That was probably my most thrilling show.
That's neat. I like Passim. I played there a long time ago when they had the open mics.
Yeah.
They stopped doing those, but that was fun when they had open mics there. It was a thrill for me to be in there, because I've gone there thousands of times and seen thousands of these really good performers that I liked, and just to kind of like be playing on that stage that I know some of these other guys have stood on was kind of cool. Yeah.
And speaking of Don, we got every year around April or May we do a show with Don at the PCA.
Oh yeah.
With Don White, so he'll be there April 11th, and I guess that's starting to sell pretty well. Hoping to sell it out this year, and I do a short opening set for him, and then Don cuts loose. You've had him here, so you know.
Yeah, we've had him.
You know what he can do.
Yeah, he's a fun performer.
Yeah.
So
really nice guy too.
So you do the PCA? Do you do any other open mics or?
Yeah, I'll go to there's one at the Grange Hall in Groton, the 4th Friday of the month. Mm-hmm. That I'll go to, and I try to get down to Ellen's open mic. It's in Boxborough now when I can. So every month or two I'll get down there. Bob Pope has a nice one in Nashua once a month that I like to get to. Mm-hmm. But I've done TCAN and Amazing Things when they were doing the open mic down there.
Right.
Especially when I wasn't working, it was a lot easier to get out too.
Right. Well, you can stay out later.
Yeah.
So one thing you just told me that was interesting is I had asked you about a song that I'd like you to do, the Embers.
Yeah.
And you told me you have a novel, and now I'm sitting here with the novel in front of me. So tell me about the Embers. How did this all start?
Okay, so I started out when I was pumping gas. I was getting gas in Chelmsford, across from Skip's Restaurant, which is gone now. It's a strip mall kind of thing, but it was excuse me, a nice funky old building. I think it was built in the late 40s, early 50s, and they had a cocktail lounge called the Embers on one end of it, which you can see in the picture. But I was getting gas, and I'm looking at it. It says, the Embers. That is such an intriguing name. And my mind started going through like a story about the Embers. The story ended up being not really what the Embers was really like, but what it was like in my mind. So,
which is even better.
Yeah. So I sort of pictured this like kind of a darkish kind of lounge, and all the furniture would be like red naga hide. Back when you could get naga, and dark paneling, and there'd be like a pool table over here, and a dartboard, and the bar had a mirror behind it that was some of the silver had come off over the years, so it wasn't quite a good mirror anymore. And I pictured there would be denizens that would just kind of live at the Embers, be there. You go into some of these old places, there's like regulars that always have their spot, and where they,
right.
Everybody knows them, sort of norms.
Right.
And so I made up this guy called Tony. I call him Tony Sincero, that lives there every night. And he's not a drunkard. He'll nurse like one beer the whole night, or 2 beers, and they all know him, so they don't bother him. They just let him sit there. And he sort of, in his youth, he used to be kind of a disco boy, and he kind of puts the Grecian formula in his hair still, so his hair is like shoe polish black.
Right.
But his shirts are getting kind of tight because his belly's getting big, and you can see the gray hairs poking out, and he wears a gold chain still. So I pictured him sitting at the corner of the bar. So a lot of times when I write a song, especially if it's a character-based one like that, especially I'll write a few paragraphs of like backstory, and I find that it helps with keep the song consistent if I know in my head what the whole story is, because the song's only a snapshot of a piece of the story.
Right.
So I'd written up 2 or 3 pages of backstory for this character before I wrote the song. Then I wrote the song, and I'd been playing it for a while, and I wasn't working, and this thing called National Novel Writing Month came up, and it was in like November. So I said, I can do that. I can write 60,000 words in a month because I got nothing else to do. So I wrote that book, which is his whole backstory from when he was just getting out of college until like the present day. And, so I'll play you the song if you want.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I wanted to get this kind of loungy chord progression. Neon is purple and pink. I stepped in for a drink. The bar stools are plastic and the TV's erratic. I'm in the Embers again. Paneling, seen better days. Old and always this way. The glasses are clouded and his bar's never crowded. I'm in the Embers again. Pool table has a few tears, like most of the chairs. The dartboard's hung too low, and most folks are solo. I'm in the Embers again. But it's not too late, and I can't wait. I'll be here for the rest of the night. If I go home, would I be home? Would I find that home is alright? Once I was a big wheel, I made some big deals. That was back when, and I was hot then. It's just the Embers again. Well, I hear Tony sitting at the end of the bar, nursing his second Bud Light of the night. And he's eating his dinner, which consists of peanuts and pretzels, out of the little wooden bowl. And around the corner from him is this bleach blonde woman in tight red jeans with little pointy cat eye glasses. And she's looking at herself in the mirror. She's been looking at herself in the mirror for about 15 minutes, and Tony's not quite sure why. But she had spinach, and she thinks she might have some in her teeth. So Tony starts chatting her up, and she's basically ignoring him. He says, you know, I used to be a double knot spy, and I would go around to Europe in my Aston Martin DB9 and with the lasers and ejection seat and a little button that squirted oil out the back. Somebody was chasing me. I had a Chevelle that did that. It didn't have the little button though. And he says, you know, I'd love to take you to Europe with me. And she kind of looks at him cross-eyed over her margarita, and she says, I know, I'm not interested. I've never been east of Lynn. Which my friend Donnie likes to remind me is the ocean. He says, no, man, I'll take you to France and show you the Louvre. Take you to London and I'll show you Big Ben. I can take you to Belgium, Liechtenstein. She says, I'm not interested in any of those places. He says, how about if I take you to the Riviera? She says, oh, yeah, maybe I'd like to go to the Riviera. And he says, that's great, because it's parked right out back. Thanks. So the demographic that knows what a Riviera is getting smaller and smaller, man.
Well, you know, you can only write what you know. So if you, I'm sure there are still enough people that it's worth doing.
Well, keep doing it while there is.
Yeah. So tell people what a Riviera is then.
It's a car, man, a Buick. They don't even make They still make Buicks, right?
I'm not sure. Not up on that.
I don't know. Yeah, they might not even make it. It used to be actually, it was originally way back when. It was one of the first front-wheel drive cars in the 60s. It was the only one.
Well, here's some trivia. Malvina Reynolds wrote a song about traffic in Los Angeles, and the first couple lines, she goes, he was hit by a Fairlane Riviera with automatic drive. So, you're not the only one to use that in the lyric of the song.
Yeah, excellent.
So, The Embers then became a novel, and that's available on Amazon. People can check that out.
Look me up on Amazon, and you can find it. You can get it on your Kindle, or you can buy actually a hard copy.
Yeah.
Or if you see me, I have some with me usually. I try to let the character win in the end, though. I don't want to give away the ending, but...
All right. Well, I'll be reading it.
Yeah.
When's the audiobook?
Yeah. Yeah, no audiobook.
Okay, not yet.
Not yet. I have been thinking of a concept album, though, where I take snippets out of that whole book and make a song cycle out of it.
Yeah.
And I've been working on a few, but I haven't gotten anything quite solid yet.
Yeah, it's a great American tradition, like Spoon River Anthology, right?
Right,
And, that's the book where all the people in the town are talking from the grave, but it's like little stories about what's going on in a small town. The Embers is kind of a small town feel to it, to me anyway.
Oh, it is, yeah. It's definitely.
So that's a song, sort of a story song that you do. You do a lot of those, I gather, from what I've heard.
Yeah.
From the album I have, you got quite a few, but you also have some really interesting stuff, and I think I want you to do one of those in a minute.
Oh, okay.
But we're actually at the middle of the show.
Oh, cool.
So I'm going to talk for a little bit, and then maybe you can do Don't Paint Me With the Same Brush, which is another one of my favorites.
Works.
But so the hearing room is what I'm going to talk about. Big surprise. The hearing room is where we're recording. It's where I hang out. It's where John is right now. We are here because the hearing room is full of people who are generous and who keep it going. The people who founded it, Mark and Kaylin, really keep it going with the help of the board and other people, but they're really the prime movers of it. And they've put a lot of blood, sweat, and money into it already, and we need to help keep that going. And so the way to keep it going is to become a member of the hearing room, and that means a few things. The membership is $100 a year. It doesn't really get you a lot of swag, right? It gets you a couple of things. You get a T-shirt and a membership card. But the point is the $100 pays our rent and pays the utilities and keeps the hearing room open so that we can have open mics and shows and all these other things. We're a nonprofit, so that means we don't make a profit, right? There's not like tons of money coming in from people. We know that some of the audience can't pay much, and so that's why we're here. We're here for the community of musicians, to allow people to express themselves artistically and to allow some music to come out in Lowell that otherwise might not be heard. And the way you can become a member is to go to the website, hearingroom.net, and check out all our events. You should probably come here as well and check out the events themselves, but the membership you can do online as well. It's online at hearingroom.net. Click on membership, and that'll take you to the place you can pay the $100. And then you can come in and get your T-shirt and your membership card and talk to Mark or Kaylin or myself, and we can help you with that. So please look into joining, become a member. Also, we need support in other ways. Like, for example, we need somebody at the door. We don't pay a staff. So what we need is for community members to help out. So, like, be at the door during a show and just hang out there. And when people come in, tell them where the door is and tell them where they can sit and all that kind of stuff. That's it's pretty simple, but also you can have a part in deciding some of the things that go on at the hearing room. If you have a particular show in mind or something you want to do, talk to us about it, and we'll see if that fits with what we're doing. So lots of good stuff going on at the Hearing Room, and you can check it out at hearingroom.net, and then you should go over to Greenville Junction Shop, and you can find other items of interest. They are an upcycling shop. They have all kinds of stuff, furniture, household appliances, so you can find a toaster, you can find a dresser, you can find electronics. I bought a computer there. The computer was a perfectly good MacBook Pro. The problem is the person who owned it previously just kind of let it go, and there's no way to get into it. So all I had to do was go to the Apple Store and get it fixed up, and we reinstalled the operating system, and it's all set. So it was a much cheaper way than buying a brand new Mac. So if you're interested in finding that little known treasure that they happen to have at the Greenville Junction Shop, it's a good place to go. Also, you can call them up and say, hey, I'm looking for whatever, and they'll see what they can do to help you find it. I told them I wanted a table that folds up, and then you can unfold and play Dungeons and Dragons on it, because my son was into that. So they found it for me, and it wasn't very expensive, and I was able to get the table I was looking for. So like I said, they work with you, and they do estate and garage clean out. They are in Greenville, New Hampshire. So you should check them out, Greenville Junction Shoppy. So we're back with John. So, John, the reason I like
excuse me,
the reason I like this song, "Don't Paint Me with the Same Brush," is because, I think we all feel that way.
Oh, yeah.
And I think you stated it very well. Was that a phrase you came up with?
Well, I'll tell you. Actually, I overheard it.
Yeah. Okay.
So this will be a little bit of a songwriting lesson, I guess. My wife and I were out for dinner,
Mm-hmm.
and I've got this habit of I listen in on other people's conversations that's going on around me. It drives my wife crazy. But the people behind us were talking, and the guy was saying, I don't even know who it was about. He goes, all those people, they do such and such, and they do this and that, and they're all like that. And the woman said, well, you can't paint them all with the same brush like that. Everybody's different. So I said, well, that's a good thing to say. So I wrote that down. And so tax advice. I got tax advice for you.
Okay.
I wrote it down on a piece of paper. Then when I paid for the meal, I saved the receipt. And I took that note and the receipt, and I wrote the song, and I stapled a note and a receipt and the lyrics together and put them in my file. And this way, when Spotify plays this, I think I calculated 750 million times, I'll get $40. And then I can go to the IRS and I can say, look, I got $40 from Spotify, but it cost me $50 to eat dinner and get the idea. So you guys owe me $10. I'm thinking that'll work.
And when do you declare bankruptcy? That's the question. Yeah, that's. I don't think that's sound financial advice, but it is a good story.
It's worth every penny of financial advice.
That's right.
Yeah, I guess don't take financial advice from a guy who drives a 7-year-old car, and that's his new car.
Well, there's other things besides financial advice.
Yeah.
So
this also, as a theory lesson, it's a rock and roll song. It has a 1-6-4-5 kind of progression, like many other rock and roll songs.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll play it for you. It's easier to play than to talk about. Oh, you also have to pretend that there's a band, right? So that's the bass. That's Duck Dunn. And then there's the horn section. And that's Steve Cropper. That's my band. Here we go. paint me with the same brush, 'cause you don't know what I'm like. Don't paint me with the same brush. You haven't got it right. You think you know the way. I would lean on everything. You think you know the way. And the next words I might sing. Don't paint me with the same brush. Don't tell me you know better. And yours is the only right. Don't tell me you know better. Don't drag me to you at night. I might not have all the answers, or even all the clues, but I am still searching, 'cause that is what I do. Don't paint me with the same brush. Tell me I'm a mean one when you don't know what I'm like. Don't tell me I'm a mean one. You haven't got it right. You think you know the answers from what you've read in books. You think you know the answers. That isn't how it looks. Don't paint me with the same brush. Paint me with the same brush. Don't paint me with the same brush. Don't paint me with the same brush. Thank you.
Yeah, I like that one.
That's a fun song.
Yeah, I like the sentiment. It is a good sentiment, and I think I've heard it before as well, overheard it or something.
Yeah.
But it's something that I think more people need to know.
Oh, especially now, because we won't talk about politics, but everything is so divisive, and everybody, it's just terrible what you see out there, and especially from people not face to face. People face to face are always nice to each other, but you get them behind the keyboard, man. That's an awful thing. Yeah.
Right, and then they think doesn't matter.
Yeah,
right?
I can say that I want. Oh.
Yeah, but those things have consequences.
Oh yeah.
So. But I'm, I was impressed with your album. I like it a lot. The one that I have. Did you? How many do you have?
Oh, I have. You have the Marjorie's Garden one, the white one.
Yes.
Right? Yeah,
that's the one.
I recorded that at home. I have one. I recorded in 2001 with a bunch of other songs on it that is more professionally recorded. Seth Conley produced it for me, and we've got I've got a Billy Novick on there, and we got all these cool players. But I don't bring that out much. I should bring that out more. I'm not as happy with my own performance on it, but all these other guys are really good. And I've got one I did with my duo partner, Betsi Mandrioli. We did a few years ago, called Never Far From Home, and we do some songs together on that.
Mm-hmm. So you have kids?
I do. I have one. He's 37 years old, and he's all
Yeah.
He's a responsible adult, much more so a responsible adult than I am, I think. But
you put that in quotes, or?
I tell him all the time. I'm really proud of the way he is. But,
yeah.
He does software engineering. Works at a video game company.
Oh yeah, what company does?
It's a division of Warner Brothers. They do what are they doing now? Game of Thrones, online Game of Thrones.
That's pretty big.
Yeah, he does a lot of the back end stuff.
Yeah, I love that stuff. The Game of Thrones is a great show. Yeah. You watch it?
I've never watched it.
Oh, you should. You should. It's fun. It's a little violent. If you don't like that kind of stuff, you might not like it.
It's fantasy violent. Well, it's violent, but you know.
It's pretty violent. Yeah. But not as violent as some things, but more violent than others. So when you started recording, what did you do for marketing? How did you approach that?
I'm like the world's worst marketing person. I recorded this last record, and I brought it up to CD Baby, and they got it into all the streaming services and download services and all that. And they used to sell physical CDs. They've stopped that recently. And I went out and did a couple of like CD release things, but I did nothing for marketing from there. I know there's just so much to do, and it's so many good CDs out there. It's hard to get yours visible.
Right. Well, play another song from one of your more recent ones.
Okay. This is a fairly new song. I wrote this. Excuse me. We lost one of our open micers last year, and it set me to thinking of all the people who have come through the open mic, some of them are no longer with us, and so I made up this song. Player stood upon the stage, played his tune, turned the page. Every night's a golden age to sit and listen and to play. He takes his time to tune it up, puts his capo on the fret, sets his music on the stand, and one guitar, that's the whole band. There's a singer in the wind that you'll never hear again. When the last clean note fades, all that's left's an empty stage. An empty sidewalk, an empty door, where someone once played tunes before, for nickels, dimes, and nothing more. The ghost of someone by the door. His guitar case was open wide to show the emptiness inside. A heart with no place it could hide was on display for passers-by. There's a singer in the wind that you'll never hear again. When the last clean notes fade, all that's left's an empty stage. The player stood upon the stage, played his tune, turned the page. Every night was a golden age to sit and listen or to play. There's a singer in the wind that you'll never hear again. When the last clean notes fade, was less an empty stage. Thanks.
You know, that reminds me of David Olney. I didn't know him, but
Oh yeah,
he died on stage, like playing.
yeah.
In many ways, a good way to go for a musician, but still, that was kind of a shocking thing to happen.
It was. I know a couple people that were there, and they were still in shock when I talked to them.
Yeah. Where was that?
It was in Florida at I forget the name of the festival.
Oh yeah.
I'm drawing a blank, but yeah.
Yeah. So that's a poignant song to sort of celebrate the musicians who've passed.
Well, I've added up the people that have been through the open mic that are gone. You know, there was Rob, and then Lee Valaire passed away last year. In fact, on May 3rd, they're doing a show at the Bull Run in Shirley. It's the second year for this. There's going to be an annual thing, but they've created a songwriting scholarship at Berkeley in Lee's name. So
really?
They're doing a fundraiser for that. And then, of course, there's Bill Keogh and just a long list of other people.
It's a nice tribute.
Yeah.
So what? When you retired from doing engineering, and did you go start playing right away, or like were you thinking, I'm going to now write an album and I'm going to do 25 different things with music, and that's my retirement?
No. I just kept doing what I was doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I started writing more because I had time to write more.
Mm-hmm.
Writing's like exercising, and if you do it every day, even if it sucks, even if it's bad, it's good, right? It's like exercising that muscle. So when I wasn't working, I could set aside like 10 in the morning till noontime every day to do just some kind of writing, you know, either work on that book or write a song or just write some prose and even some free writing kind of thing, just to keep doing it. And I want to go back to that when this contract was over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that how you got the book written? Because you had the time to...
at the time. You know, when you, a lot of people know, when you're working full time, it's hard to get the energy to write and stuff at night when you get home.
Mm-hmm.
So, then on weekends, you want to do stuff and you want to, spend some time with your wife and things like that. So you're not going to sequester yourself in your room and start writing.
Right.
So I want to get back to that.
So let's hear another song.
Okay.
What do you got?
Let's do this one. I've got a friend named John Swenson who lives in Pennsylvania. Used to live up here. And he comes up to this area 3 or 4 times a year to play with us.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, when his mom was alive, his mom lived to like 96. And when she was alive, she would come to every show that we did. And she'd sit there. And she had such a great attitude. She broke her arm one time. And she said, it'll heal. But she would sit there, and you could tell how good you were doing by how vertical she was. If if it wasn't going great, she'd start falling asleep. She's a wonderful woman, and she passed away in her garden. She loved the garden, so that was like her happy place. And that's where she passed away. And my wife actually gave me the idea of this because she said she had this vision of Nana. We used to call her Nana.
Mm-hmm.
In her garden, flying away like a butterfly. So that's what this is. Marjorie's garden. Her name was Marjorie.
Okay.
Well, the daffodils are yellow and all turning toward the sun. The phlox is purple, bright and green. Tulips have just started and the crocuses are done. This garden is a sight to be seen. Well, the bees all buzz around and they do a honey dance. Little crawly bugs scoot by, Frogs and trolls are looking for some springtime romance. Birds take up the big blue sky. It's a lovely spring day, so tears beg your pardon. There's a colorful new butterfly in Marjorie's garden. Well, the bulbs will nap all winter in the springtime beds. Winter frost can't get them where they sleep. Perennials are special, they have their own new bed. Remember, please don't plant them too deep. It's a lovely spring day, so tears beg your pardon. There's a colorful new butterfly in Marjorie's garden. A rainy day in April means more flowers come in May. The gardens muddy, the trees sprout leaves. She loves her little garden, even on a rainy day. It's not what you see, it's what you believe. It's a lovely spring day, so tears beg your pardon. There's a colorful new butterfly in Marjorie's garden. It's a lovely spring day, so now tears beg your pardon. There's a colorful new butterfly in Marjorie's garden.
So, yeah, you like those personal songs that tell a story there.
Yeah, I know. I wish I could write, like, contemporary topical songs about things that are happening in the world, like big issues and stuff.
Right.
But I just can't, so far, I can't write one that I'm happy with. I listen to some guys that we all know, like I like Rich Elbert and stuff, man.
Right.
He hears something and he can write a great song about it. But someday I'll get a topical one. Well, most of mine are they're like little snapshots of the world, of things that are happening.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a little grain of truth.
Well, the little grains of truth add up to a bigger truth.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's very, very much a folk tradition. So you get inspired, sounds like, by just different things that are floating around, like Marjorie's garden. And
yeah, different things that are over here.
Yeah, you look across the street at a cafe and you're like, oh, that would be a good story and book.
Yeah.
And is that your process? Is just sort of it comes to you, or do you said you sit and write? So.
Yeah, I sit and write. Sometimes I find seeds, kind of like I like a prompt. Like somebody will let's see. Somebody will give me a prompt like this, like if we're doing a song circle in the round somewhere, and they'll have an assignment ahead of time. So I kind of like those. One time I did a little workshop with Nancy Baudet, and she did a thing where she passed around like a little bag with just stuff in it, and you had to reach in and pull out something, and that thing became the prompt, and you end up writing a song about it. It's kind of, and it's usually like it's usually not like really about the thing. The thing just kind of kicks it off, you know.
Right.
And she's got a nice book about songwriting that I just got, and I haven't had a chance to get into it, but every chapter is a different kind of exercise to do stuff like that. So I got one that's was from a prompt. I think the prompt was hard changes. Hard changes? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a little contest, and I call this my song. I call the song 3750, which is not its real name. Its real name was Hard Changes, but I call it 3750 because the prize was $75, and I split it with somebody else.
So you got 3750.
I got 3750. Sitting quietly, late afternoon, listening to the rain rolling down my porch roof, headed toward the drain. It's a quiet gray afternoon, late in the fall. Winter's coming all too soon. Hard changes for us all. Hard changes for us all. Every winter breeds its discontent. Every blizzard I've ever met. Every howling winter wind holds a promise of peace within. Leaves are falling and the branches are bare. The little creek is froze. Frost like icing clings everywhere. You cannot feel your nose. I'll still be there beside you, waiting for spring. Leaves are falling just means they're coming back. Good changes they will bring. Good changes they will bring. Yeah, that's one from a prompt like that.
Yeah, I like doing the prompt thing.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, and I've had the audience pick prompts like, I think the first time I met you was at Dan and Faith's.
Right, yeah.
At the Serendipity, which was fun. It's kind of fun when you get an assignment because it's in a way, it relieves the pressure.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
It gives you some place to start, some kind of boundaries, you know.
And then you curse for a while at how bad the prompt is, and then you figure it out.
I think the worst prompt, and I'll apologize to Wanda if she's listening, but was Sisters of Schadenfreude.
Schadenfreude?
Yeah.
Sisters of Schadenfreude?
Yeah.
I don't even know what that would mean.
I don't either. I had trouble with that one. I forget what I wrote for that, but
sisters who like to revel in the problems of others. I could see it. It's just I don't think I'd be excited writing that song.
That was a hard one.
Yeah.
I actually forget what I did for that.
I mean, although I did I Swear in Traffic. That was one that I got.
That's a good one, though.
Yeah, and I wrote a song about swearing in traffic, so I can't say it's my best work, but I got something done.
What did Snake said the other night? Something about he was stuck in traffic and he was exercising his profanity gland.
Right. Right. Yeah, people around here, they like the profanity. It seems to be like part of the traffic school that people go through. Because
it's on the test.
Right. Or honking. Honking is essentially profanity. You just can't hear it.
You know what I wish they had? I wish cars had two horns. One for the profanity thing, the honk, get out of my way. But I want a little like neep neep kind of thing, like a friendly one for when you're at the red light and it turns green and it's been a little while and the guy hasn't moved yet, and you don't want to like shock him or yell at him. You just want to say, "Hey, the light's green, man."
Yeah, maybe one that plays Dixie, right? Like in Dukes of Hazzard. You know.
That could be dangerous here.
Yeah, I saw Tom Wopat in Nashville years ago. He was doing a songwriting thing for a while.
Oh.
The guy who was Luke Duke in the show. Yeah, that was a terrible show.
They wrecked more cars in that show, man.
Yeah. But it certainly had an impact. So what's up in the next area of music that you're going to explore? What are you going to be doing?
That's a good question. I mean, I've got a couple of interesting shows coming up with. I got the Don White thing on April 11th, and the Lee. I'm going to do the Lee thing at the Bull Run in May, and I've got a couple of other things in between. But I really want to start getting some more writing done. You know,
like songwriting.
Yeah, and because people got to be getting tired of my songs by now.
No, I don't think so. If they're good, people like them and they want to hear them again.
Yeah.
And then 20 years from now, people will be going, "John, why don't you play that one from 20 years ago?" And you'll go, I just wrote a whole bunch of new ones. Don't you want to hear those?
Right. I might have a better chance of remembering the ones from 20 years ago.
Yeah. Well, so you, but you're not working on an album quite yet?
No, I'm just going to write some songs, and I don't know, I don't know about like doing another CD like in the normal sense. I might just write songs and record them and just put them out there individually, because nobody really buys CDs anymore.
Yeah, that's true, but they do hear music though.
Yeah, but so I've got a few kind of in the queue yet.
Mm-hmm.
If I do a CD, I've got to have like 15 or 20 candidates for it, and see what records well and what goes together.
Yeah, well, I'm going on the slow recording plan.
Oh yeah,
because I'm just trying to get the perfect songs together.
Yeah,
I'm not quite there yet, but
and recording's expensive.
Yeah,
I did that last CD myself. But originally that was going to be just like the demos to go out and then get them recorded with real musicians and real studio and all that. Then I just said, well, I'll just release this like this. And
Marjorie's Garden you're talking about?
Yeah.
And before that you did it with Seth Connolly?
Yeah, I did one. The Two Cat Folk one I did with Betsi, and the Real Good Day CD I did with Seth. Mm-hmm. And Seth recorded both of those. But
yeah, I'm doing Doug Kwartler's recording my stuff slowly.
Well, it's nice to have somebody do it that can listen. Even I've taken classes and stuff, and I've learned a lot about production and recording, but it's hard to do. It's like being your own dentist, man. You got to have somebody else doing it for you.
Right, because you have. You're more critical of yourself than you should be, I think, is part of the problem.
Yeah, it is.
And so when you hear something perfectly good, you'll be like, no.
Keep
it's
trying to make it better, and then you just wreck it.
Right. It's hard to do. But, so you got another one?
Yeah. Let's see. Let's do this song here. I mentioned Real Good Day. That was that original CD. Excuse me. This is like the title song. And I think I wrote this song just so I could get Billy Novick to play the clarinet. He plays clarinet on it on that CD.
Nice.
The sun is shining in my backyard. I work all morning, but I won't work that hard. The lake is calling and the birds fly by. The sun is shining on me. The cat in the window watches life float by. The birds on the feeder, they don't even bother to fly. Take another sip of my lemonade. Think I'll move to the shade. My time means more than just getting old. My treasure is more than diamonds and gold. My kitty stretches and it bumps into me. Guess it's time for tea. Day is over and the night's coming on. I never got to cutting the lawn, but I saw a hawk and an osprey. Had a real good day. Had a real good day. Thanks, Ed.
Thanks. It was good. And you got the clarinet in on that.
Oh, yeah.
So that's good. So we're getting toward the end here, and I wanted to ask you what kind of advice you would give other musicians who are coming to play the open mics or playing out and trying to find their place in the music community.
Oh, you know what? Just go out and do it. You know, practice as much as you can at home, but don't, especially if you're starting out at the open mic, don't worry about not being good. Just go out and do it, and listen to the other players. Watch what they do and listen to them and talk to them. Everybody be willing to give advice. And the nice part about this kind of world is there's nowhere to go from here, really. There's no money involved or anything like that, and so everybody just wants to help everybody else.
Right.
And everybody, everybody's nice to everybody else. So just get out and do it. Meet people. I've had people come to the open mic. Cooper and Keneally, they came here separately years ago, and they met each other. And they made a duo, and they do a lot of playing together, and they're great fun. And you mentioned Dan and Faith earlier. I think mine might have been the first open mic they came to.
Oh, really?
And I kind of watched them grow a little bit. Now they're writing songs like They're Free, and they get in their Travado there, and they drive around the country playing those songs, having a grand time.
Right.
And they're great people. So you'll meet a lot of nice people.
Yeah.
But listen to other people's songs, learn other people's songs, learn songs of people you like. Learn songs you don't like even, and learn how they were written. Take them apart. Think about them. Yeah, stuff like along those lines.
Yeah, it's a lot better to try to play a song by somebody who can tell you how to do it right.
Yeah.
It's
oh yeah.
When you hear a pop song or something like that, I can't find out how it was done.
No, a lot of I watch Stephen Colbert every night, and he has a musical guest at the end of the show, and a lot of times I can't get anything out of these songs. I don't understand the lyrics. The melodies don't go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to pull out some of the old stuff. Listen to Steve Goodman or some Bill Morrissey or Woody Guthrie any of the Tin Pan Alley stuff, Gershwin and all those guys, listen to those guys were like kings of melody, and listen to them and learn stuff from those guys.
Yeah. So how about one more and we'll call it a show?
Okay, yeah. Well, you know, can I do a cover?
Sure.
I mentioned Bill Morrissey a little while ago. He was one of my inspirations to get back into this. I went to see him at one of those Tom Rush in the round kind of things back in the mid-'80s, and just fell in love with his writing and the stories and the characters in there. So I'll play you one of his songs. You can look into her eyes and live forever. She's as restless as the sea. She's as calm, summer dawn, and she's that kind of mystery. And you can write the song that wins her heart. The song will take you half the way, for you've known from the start you could never write the song that makes her stay. Love comes in the sound of a dream, a whisper of a prayer, promise and a sigh. Love comes from the corner of a smile that isn't meant for you. She'll only stay a while. And you can fall asleep within her arms. You'll know the fear all love endures. For in the night she'll pledge your heart. She cannot give what is not hers. Love comes in the sound of a dream, a whisper of a prayer, promise and a sigh. Love comes from the corner of a smile that isn't meant for you. She'll only stay a while. You can look into her eyes and live forever. She's as restless as the sea. She's as calm as a summer dawn, and she's that kind of mystery.
Well, thanks, John, for coming. This has been fun.
Thanks for having me. This was a great fun.
So can you tell us what's your website?
Oh, my website is John Ferullo, JohnFerullo.com.
Okay, and is there anything else you want to tell about upcoming stuff people might want to find you at? Or
yeah, well, we got the open mic on Sunday with the 8th, and we've got another one on the 22nd. We've got the Don White show at the PCA on April 11, and then a couple more open mics, and in May we've got the Lee Valaire thing. That's a good thing to go to. There'll be a dozen people. It'll be fun, and the money goes for good cause. And then I forget what the date is. In May, John Swenson will be back up from Pennsylvania, and we'll swap songs with Betsi and Kathleen over at the Java Room. I believe I want to say May 10th, but I'd have to look it up. It's on my website. But yeah.
All right. Well, thanks again, and you can look for John at the PCA open mic in Westford and other places, and check the website johnferullo.com. Also, we want to thank the Greenville Junction Shop for their support, and you should check out hearingroom.net to find out how to become a member of the Hearing Room and how to become a part of our community. So we have Grant Malloy Smith is going to be on the show on Thursday, so you can check out his show. That'll be a good one. And have a great week.
If you start with a dream and share it with some friends, the idea deepens and grows. The dream takes shape, it has form and substance, and community soon arose. A listening room, a hearing room, a place to find a home to play. A listening room, the hearing room, express yourself and have your say. The walls are thin, sirens blare, the tables sit near folding chairs, the stage is set with paint and glue, and love went into every screw. The light shine bright on every star, they come to play from near and far. The light shine bright on every star, they come to play from near and far. A listening room, the hearing room, a place to find a home to play. A listening room, the hearing room, express yourself and have your say.